Ms. Wei Nin. Ms. Wei Nin?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. So when the head of the Burmese military, Min Aung Hlaing, staged the coup, he knew there was a price to pay, but of course he is expecting that he can get away with it. So it's very important for us to prove him wrong. In Burma, people are very brave and they are proving Min Aung Hlaing that he is wrong. When the military decided when they thought to arrest NLD leaders and other activists like my dad, they thought they could stop protest. But we have seen the biggest protest in more than 30 years. People are holding signs calling for democracy. And these signs are written in English because they want the world to help. But peaceful protests have been met with increased violence by the military. People are dying on the street every day, and children have been shot in the head. The military is using every tool they have to silence people from speaking out. More than 60 people now have been killed for peacefully protesting. And we now have more than 2,000 people in prison since the coup started, and we don't know how many people have disappeared. And we haven't been told where they are being detained or their condition, and they don't have any access to lawyers. Today is my father's birthday. Nearly half my life, we haven't been able to celebrate his birthday together because he is in prison for speaking out. And my first memory of seeing my dad is through iron bars in insane prison. It's still very hard for me, although I'm used to it. And at the same time, I'm heartbroken and angry that so many children will now have to go through what I went through, growing up without a parent and not knowing when they will see the parents again. And this has to stop. It's not just in the cities and against peaceful protesters that military is attacking civilians. In Karen State, the military is firing mortar bombs into villages, and more than 5,000 villagers are already hiding in the jungle. We see military trucks and soldiers on the streets of Yangon and other cities, but they never left the streets in many ethnic states. In the past 10 years of reform process, human rights violations against ethnic minorities have increased. The military saw sanctions relax even as they will continue carrying on human rights violations against ethnic minorities. This created a sense of impunity for the military. They even thought they could get away with the genocide against the Rohingya, and so far they have. And of course, they think they can get away with the staging a coup now because they were allowed to get away with genocide. People in Burma want the coup reversed, and they want the democratically elected government to be reinstated, but they don't want to go back under the military drafted 2008 constitution. In the US, you wouldn't accept a situation where your chair of the Joint Chief of Staff choose 3 cabinet members. You wouldn't accept him choosing 25% of the member of Congress. You wouldn't accept it, and we can't either. People are risking their lives asking for federal democracy. And the military was wrong to underestimate the courage and resistance by the people of Burma. But so far, Min Aung Hlaing hasn't been wrong to think the international response would be weak. My country is now controlled by the battle-hardened soldiers. They are not diplomats. Statements alone are not enough. Of course, we are realistic, and we know that international action alone cannot free our country. We will win our own freedom, but international action has an important role to play. I want to take this moment to thank the US for being the first to act against the coup, freezing government reserves and sanctioning 3 military companies. You have been the forefront of supporting human rights and democracy in my country, and I'm really grateful for that. There is much more US can and must do. You must target the economic interests of all the military and impose sanctions on military companies, including financial services and insurance. Now that military control the government, revenues to them from oil and gas need to be stopped, along with trade in timber and jams from Burma. Please work with allies like the UK and EU to coordinate these targeted sanctions. And US has arms embargo, but most countries in the world don't. Please work with allies to build a global coalition of countries imposing arms embargo. In my written statement, I have listed more steps that can be taken. There are many measures that US can take. diplomatic, economic, humanitarian, and legal. In my country, people are going out on the street every single day protesting, knowing that they could be shot anytime, they could be arrested anytime, and they could be beaten anytime. They are risking their lives, and they're doing everything they can. And we are asking, please, every tools you have and everything you can to help us. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand that Mr. Law is trying to connect with us. Mr. Law, are you with us yet? Well, I hope it's not the Chinese government seeking to interfere in Mr. Law's testimony from Hong Kong. Well, let me turn to a round of questions. If we are able to connect, we will certainly intercede his testimony at that time. Let me turn to the ranking member for any questions or comments.
Well, thank you. Ms. Wei Nin, your testimony was very good, particularly as far as details are concerned, and that's what we always hunger for is details on top of the generalities that we know. But tell me this: the things that we have done. What is your idea of how this is going to end? I mean, the military takeover by the people who are in charge of that have shown that over many years that they can survive through a lot of pressure. How do you see this thing ending? What's your thought on that?
Thank you very much, Senator. It's a very good question. So the military is not immune to pressure. The military is not immune to the, international pressure. So far, it's been over a month since the coup started, and every day we have seen the situation getting worse and worse. It's not just the cracking down on peaceful protester anymore. It's pure killing in some parts of the country. And what we've seen from the international community is mostly statements of condemnation. And what we want them to do, and especially United States, is very powerful. And you can use with your allies to, like I stated before, sanctions on military companies. They care about their pockets. They care about pressure. Of course, these will not work straight away, but this will send a very strong message to the military that they need to respect human rights and they need to stop violating human rights on the ground.
Well, thank you. I appreciate those observations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I understand that Senator Cardin is with us virtually. Senator Cardin?
Testing. Testing.
Is that Mr. Law?
Yes. I'm so sorry, Chairman. I don't know why there are problems. Maybe it's from my end, technical problems.
Okay, we'll recognize you now. Your full statement will be in the record, and if you can summarize your remarks. I read your statement. It's excellent. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much, Chairman Menendez, Ranking Member Rich, and the other distinguishing members of the committee. It's really my honor to be able to testify in front of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. The state of democracy around the world is grim. The 2020 Priorities of Democracy report found that 2020 was the first year since 2001 that there are more autocratic institutions than democratic ones in the world. The latest Freedom in the World 2021 report produced by Freedom House also recognized this worsening democracy decline. We all are in the 50th consecutive year of decline in the global freedom. What Hong Kong people have suffered from in the past few years are clear examples of it. 2019, the year that Hong Kong people uprose, the scenes of millions of people marching down the streets captured the eyeballs of every corner of the world. We chant for the promises made to us: democracy, autonomy, and freedom. Congressman